Well, we're back to the Color Country Model Railroad Club's open house.
Right.
We were here in November.
It was in November, in time for your birthday, actually.
And what a fabulous birthday present.
Yes.
So hard to put a bow on it.
Well, we tried.
Anyway, we've had so much to show for these last 3 weeks with our 10-year anniversary, but we need to get back on the Color Country Model Railroad Club's open house in St. George, Utah.
If it isn't colorful enough already, the autumn colors really set the whole thing off.
I just love St. George.
Oh, I do too.
And I miss the good weather. This is the HO Railroad of Joe Adair. We saw this like 2 years ago.
Right.
But let's catch up with him and see what he's been doing.
Well, I've been collecting things since 1980. We moved here from Oregon, and I actually had a layout there probably around 2009 that was much larger than this. It was in a room about 24 by 36. Had a 10-inch elevation from both sides with a mountain range in the middle. It was really fun. This is a little smaller room. And so, yeah, I've been doing it a number of years. I've been collecting a lot of kits for a number of years with, until then, no place to do it. And now we have a place to be able to build it. This layout is about 1.5 to 2 years old. The reason I got into it, I went to a show in early 80s and saw the buildings all built up and loved the detail, and that's what got me into model railroading. This one is, if you want to know the construction of it, it's a single reverse loop dog bone, which I'm having problems with the track. And my main locomotives are Southern Pacific because I fell in love with the cab forward. And if people don't know what the cab forward is, they'll have to, unfortunately, go to California and try the museum in Sacramento. I'm sorry, but I don't care about running the trains. I like building the stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what gets me going, and I really enjoy that, yeah.
Well, both Karen and I and our friends, it just seems that building the structures is absolutely our favorite part. The whole railroad is justified, or the structures are justified by the railroad.
Exactly.
But the fun thing is...
Exactly. And you guys actually create some really neat stuff. Yeah.
But we just enjoy doing all the little details, and
yeah, exactly.
And she gets a kick out of building structures from her past. Mm-hmm. And that's just really fun because it gives a nice bit of history.
Yeah, exactly. I just love the detail you can put into it. You know, the rust coming down on the water tower and the pigeons. And if you have pigeons on buildings, what do you have? Pigeon poop. And you got, and you got to look for those kind of things. And most people don't pay attention to that kind of stuff. You know, the crumpled up newspapers that have thrown into a fence and things like that. Those are the fun little items that really got me interested in it.
It's easy, I think, to see why HO is such a popular scale.
It's just about the right size, especially if you don't have a lot of space.
You can fit a lot, and the detail, it's really a greate compromise between space and detail.
Right.
And look at his bench work.
Oh, it's excellent.
This is old school L-girder, classic L-girder bench work.
So how do they go about filling in all of the empty spaces, so to speak?
Well, typically you'd fill that in with plaster cloth, use like a gauze cloth soaked in plaster. And you can see that in some places here he's started using the pink construction foam. And everybody seems to be going to that now. And then he's layering that over with plaster, so it's sort of the best of both worlds.
I see.
Well, let's go check out another railroad. This time it's an N-scale railroad built by Eldon Chenard.
Oh, wow.
Little teeny, well, that's the advantage of that.
Oh, I know, I love N-scale.
So this is similar in construction to the last railroad.
Right.
But in this particular case, a lot more of the scenery is in place and all of the plaster. Still work to be done.
Right, but now I can see how that works.
My track is basically based in Truckee, California. I've been working on it now for about a year and a half, and it's one of those projects that will never be done.
Why Truckee?
Because I lived up in Carson City, Nevada. I have my trains are Western Pacific and California Zephyr, because I rode the California Zephyr from Reno, Nevada to Chicago, Illinois. And their museum was just up the road from me in Portola, California. So that's where everything's based on that. The painting, who knows, my housing development may turn into condominiums. You know, I don't know what's going to happen until it does. This one was in the house until we decided we wanted to have some people stay over. And so that layout I had in here, I totally destroyed and moved out here. And this actually works out better because I can move this around and pull my golf cart in. So better use of space.
Speaking of use of space, N-scale.
N-scale, 9 millimeters, second smallest one there is.
So just for space issues?
Yep. I didn't want to do it in the backyard. Lionel, you can't have half the stuff I've got if you're Lionel or something like that. And I don't want to put it in the backyard. I have a little heating cooling system in here so I can work year round. So when it's 112 degrees, I come in here and flip on the cooler. Or if it's cool like this morning, I put the heat on. I'm enjoying it.
Well, on to another railroad.
Right.
This time it's a large scale, a number 1 gauge railroad by Paul Botino.
Oh, neat.
And it's not a garden railroad, it's an actual railroad on bench work, which is really fun.
It is.
How come I like trains, and you'll appreciate this. I say, have you ever been to Helper, Utah? Because that's where I was born and raised. Trains run smack through the middle of the town. The house was built by an artist, and this room here was a separate garage was his studio. And so this is where he painted and worked. He lived in the house 5 years. Has skylights, heating, cooling, and it's pleasant in here all the time. And so I finally got the bright idea last year in the middle of the winter that I'd lived here 5 years and still haven't had any trains running. And so I got the bright idea to put a railroad in here, and my wife agreed, and so we did. We cleaned it out and built this big 42-inch high platform, and here we go. So it's pretty good shape right now. I started the woodwork about the end of February.
Okay.
And it took me a couple weeks before I got a top on it, and then from then on it was pulling stuff out of my storage unit and building a railroad.
Nice. Oh, check out the Grizzly Flats Depot.
I was just going to say that looks really familiar.
Yeah, you built one of these.
I did.
Same kit, as a matter of fact, in the same scale. There it is.
There it is.
It's available on every conceivable scale because everyone loves the Grizzly Flats.
Is that right? Well, maybe I want one for a she shed.
Well, next week we're going to be finishing up the Color Country Model Railroad Club's open house with 2 of our favorite garden railroads.
Right. This one here is our
And there's
inspiration.
another track
Yeah,
that goes
Dick,
underneath.
Dick Saunders. I love the elevated yet ground level railroad.
Right.
Just magnificent. And just down the street from him is Tim Fitch.
Yes.
Wouldn't it be fun if someday they could run a track between them? It couldn't be done. I think there's a street in the way and everything. But
Well,
it's
build
just
a trestle.
it's just amazing that these 2 railroads exist just maybe 500 feet from each other.
That's neat.
But anyway, that will be next week's show. We'll be finishing up the Color Country Model Railroad Club with Dick Saunders and Tim Fitch's amazing garden railroads. So both railroads have had some additions done, and Tim here has put in this whole new water feature.
That is so neat.
Love it. So anyway, you definitely want to check out next week's show on garden railroads. And so if you're not a subscriber to the channel, heaven to Betsy, why aren't you a subscriber? Because you're going to want to be notified when this show goes out.
Exactly.
And if you're not a member, please consider becoming a member by clicking on the join button, and it pushes a couple of dollars our way and sort of helps support the channel. But at any rate, it does not cost a cent to subscribe to the channel. You just click on the button and that's it. Now you're going to get notified. And the easy peasy way to become a subscriber is clicking on the upcoming blue button. Zoink! Right there, the blue button. Well, we're not sure how you found this video on the internet. We hope you didn't find it boring, and we will see you here on Tuesday.
Right.
We'll see you then.
We'll see ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.